Yeah, I feel like it was more performance based where I did, covers and things. And I feel like it was later when I was about, I would say 16, 17, 18, where I was like, okay, I want to be an artist. I don't want to just be singing.
Hmm.
And so it was a little bit of a late start just because of the setting that I was in. And
I'm Adam, and this is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the brand new song.
perfect, let's do it.
Cool. So I did read born and raised in India. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow, what was that
exactly.
like?
I mean, very different from here. I mean, just in terms of, architecture and the way of life, but also, yeah, just the culture and things are a little different. And also when I grew up, I mean, I've been here for a few years now, so, it's changing as we speak.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of things have changed for the better, and it's more open and liberal and accepting of, people and who they want to be. There's still a long way to go. I feel like that's like a worldwide thing.
Yeah.
But no, but it's beautiful, and yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I feel like it's such a large country that no Indian and not very few people have seen all of it. Honestly, I have yet to see every single,
I
you know.
Yeah, same. I'm not even close. Uh,
Have you ever been?
to India? No. I was talking about the United States. I haven't even seen
Oh,
the
okay,
whole
that
thing of.
too. I
But
know
yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
no,
that
I've
too.
never been to India. And it's also, that's a large country. What was like what part, not that I would know, but where were you where'd you live?
So I'm from South India, from Kerala originally, but my family is in Chennai right now, which is where Kamala Harris is from, partly to paint a
Oh,
picture.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So the
That's
Indians are
cool.
slowly taking over.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
what age did you move here? How long? You said you've only been here a
I
few
mean, for a
years?
few years now. I mean, it's been like I moved here for college in 2014. So
Oh,
it's,
okay.
yeah. And then I finished school, 2018 is when I was supposed to finish, but I finished early in 2017 and then was back home for a year. And now, I mean, and officially moved to LA 2019.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
so you were here. Did you go back home during the pandemic or did you stay in
No,
LA?
no, I was here. I was here.
Wow. Was that kind
Yeah.
of, I mean, obviously rough for everybody, but your family's all still in India?
Yeah, so my sister, she was in Houston. She just moved here recently, my older sister. So at least there's someone here, that I could be with close to, like during the pandemic. But my
Okay,
parents and
that's
my
good.
brother, they're all in India still. And we didn't get to see them the whole time during COVID. I mean, just like the rest of the world.
Yeah. At least you had your sister. I mean, that would have been, I mean, not that it was any better, but it's like if you had no one.
Yeah, I feel like at least yeah, it was great having her. And I mean, by then I mean, I moved here in 2019, like I said. I also had friends from school move out here, so it was at least a few people that I could interact with.
Yeah, you had a little community of people. That's good.
Yeah.
What about
Where are you?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, but
Nashville?
I'm originally from San Diego. I lived
Oh,
there
wow.
pretty much my whole life. I spent about 5 years in San Francisco doing radio. That's where I come
Okay.
from, radio world. But I moved
Okay.
back to San Diego and we moved to Nashville like 2.5 years ago.
Okay. Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah. So I
never
know
been.
it's beautiful.
I know. I've heard great things. I can't wait to visit.
Yeah, we love it here. Absolutely love it. I was really worried when we moved. I was like, is this gonna be the worst decision we've ever done? But turned out to be the best.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
great.
So how did you get into music? Do you come from a musical household?
Oh my gosh, not at all. I mean, there was always great music. No one's, in the industry like that back home or musically inclined, but there was always great music playing growing up, whether it was Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Tina Turner, Janet, just really good music. Queen, my
Mhm.
parents, I owe that to them. And then a lot of Indian music as well. So it was yeah, a multilingual household. We speak three Indian languages, so it's, yeah. So it's,
Oh, wow.
Indian music in Tamil, Malayalam, and Hindi. And then of course, all the music from the West. And then my cousins were introducing me to, like, the hip hop stuff, which my parents weren't listening to at the time, of course. But now they're hip to it, so I'm
That's
glad
cool.
that things are changing and evolving. And Yeah,
Oh, so you
yeah,
speak like 3 Indian languages and English, obviously.
that's right.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
Wow. At what age did you learn English, or was that something that was kind of integrated in the curriculum at your school?
Yeah, I mean, I went to an English speaking school, so I mean,
Okay.
a lot of the schools in India are, English speaking schools, or there's access to that. There's some that are, the broader public schools where they speak in Hindi primarily, or the
Okay.
regional language, depending on which part of the country you're in. But
Okay. That's interesting.
English is emphasized even in those schools. Like I feel like just because there's a lot of tourists coming in, also it was a British colony, like history wise and tourism wise, it's universally something
Yeah,
that
it's what the universal language, I guess, if you were like,
yeah.
yeah. But still, I mean, that's still I mean, wow. To know that many languages. I struggled. Like I grew up in San Diego, right? Like literally get throw like a rock at the border. And I took me so long to like, you know, retain Spanish. I wish that was something that
Right.
I learned at a very early age, but my school didn't do that.
It's it's hard, yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I lived in Dubai for a few years, so I had to pick up Arabic, but that was much
Oh
later.
wow.
And that was hard because I feel like I had to just read the word and I'd be like, okay, if I see this word, then this is the answer. Like rather than picking up the language and being able to, speak it and understand
Yeah.
it, comprehend it. So it is hard to learn it later in life for sure, especially if it looks completely different.
Oh yeah. Wow. So
Yeah.
you did not come from a musical household, but music was playing in the house. What
Yes.
did you play piano at an early age, or did you start singing at an early age? Like how did you kind of get
I,
introduced into that world?
I did. I mean, I was I mean, my mom was a little bit of a stage mom, but I was also the kid that loved that. So it started with, skits at school and theater and speeches and public speaking and singing. I wanted to sing primarily, but I feel like we did some of the other stuff for me to be comfortable, on
Sure.
stage. And then yeah, it was dancing. I mean, basically everything in the performing arts, but music is what I gravitated towards. And they try to put me into classical Indian music training because that's what we had easiest access to. It was more challenging to find
Yeah.
someone trained in like Western music. And that worked well, but I was an impatient child where I was like, cool, I don't want to have the foundation. Let's just sing the song.
Yeah.
So that worked for a little bit. I feel like it did help me, with the scales, and I feel like it made things easier later, I guess, to strengthen myself vocally.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was always, I feel like I was always on English music. There was so much of that on TV. Like I feel like there was all these music videos and there wasn't somebody from that part of the world that I saw in the videos, even though it was being sampled. Like some of the songs were being sampled, a lot by DJ Quick and Timbaland,
Mhm.
but there was no Indian face to it. So I would say like Beyonce, J Lo, Shakira, like those were the closest where I'm like, okay, I feel like we look a little bit like each other. And that was
Mhm.
the representation that I saw. But
Yeah.
I wanted to do it on that magnitude. I wanted to go global. And I knew that when I was a little child.
And how did you like were you writing songs through high school, or I mean, when you were younger, and like how did you start to kind of pursue that dream?
Yeah, I feel like it was more performance based where I did, covers and things. And I feel like it was later when I was about, I would say 16, 17, 18, where I was like, okay, I want to be an artist. I don't want to just be singing.
Mhm.
And so it was a little bit of a late start just because of the setting that I was in. And then I'd
But
applied to
16 isn't late, you know what I mean?
I mean,
A
there's
late start,
people,
16 years old and
I mean, where I started thinking about it, I feel like it's, there's so many, like people just look at it and are like, oh yeah, sing a song, do a dance, like, but
right.
there's so much more behind it. And that's when where
Okay.
I was like, okay, I need to learn, I want to learn music, I want to learn some chords, and I want to really delve into this creative space and embrace it and find myself like that.
Mhm.
And so it was after high school that I applied to Berkeley College of Music, just to see. I was like, let me see if I get out of the country, if I still stand a chance, or if I would make it, or. And the rule was like get a scholarship or something to
Right.
know that you're accepted in that part. It's not just the family just saying you sound great.
Right, right. You need a little bit more validation than that.
Exactly. Yeah, my parents especially, and I get it. I get it. It's hard to know with these things if it's a passion or if it's something you want to make a career. They wanted to see how serious I was about it as well.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I was fortunate enough to make it. They were supportive of me going to school, and that's really when I was like, wow, to see all these musicians locked up in these practice rooms and just grinding for hours and hours, and honing their crafts. That was so inspiring. It was a bubble, but the most beautiful bubble to be in. And I was like, shit, like I gotta really, this is what you need to be doing.
Right. Damn. So did you went to Berkeley then?
I did, yeah.
And did you say you finished in a year?
No. I
Oh, I was
finished
like,
in
shit.
3. I finished in 3 instead of
But
4. I was like,
still,
I want to get out of here.
but still, damn. So you lived in Boston.
I did, yeah.
Okay. And to get into the school, I've interviewed a lot of artists that have went there. And everyone kind of has a different story. And I would imagine coming from outside of the United States, it'd be even more tricky in that sense. Like, how did you apply, and then what? You have to like do you have to do like a thing for them, right? An audition, so to speak.
Yeah, so there's the written essay and that kind of formality as well, but it's the in-person audition where you sing for them, and then there's a little test where they check, like they do a year, it's a year training exercise where they see like, what your pitch is like, and then they see if you can sight read music, just to see like where they can place you, what your level is at, and then and what your instrument is. So principal instrument is, either the voice or guitar or whatever it is that you
Right.
want to come in with, depending on if you're in film scoring or a producer. I mean, but there's still some
There's so many roles,
instrumental
right?
base.
But you have to like you have to declare a major, so to speak, right?
To a
Not
certain extent. I mean, you can fall into it and switch it. I mean, there's people who come in for voice and then they're like, you know what? I just want to play bass, to be honest. and they're just like, funk is it for me. I just want bass, or like acid jazz. I don't know. You find yourself in school. There's Bulgarian music, African music, like music from the world, honestly. The circle singing like Bobby McFerrin. There's so much that you can dive into and really find yourself. Like that's such a rare school to go to too, with people from all over the world and all these different languages and genres and styles. And it was beautiful.
Did you have to fly out to Boston before you got into the school?
Yeah, for the audition.
What was that like? Were you nervous? I mean, you're like, okay, I got to travel across the world. I'm going to go to this school, and I better not like screw this up. I mean, I don't know. What was it like?
I mean, I was definitely nervous. I mean, I would be lying if I said I didn't. I mean, this was my dream. This was like, I need to make it through and get a scholarship of some sort for my parents to say, okay, like my life depended on it. If not, who knows? Like,
Right.
I don't know where I would still be doing music, but maybe it would have been more a different story and a different path. But I was like, I gotta make it. This is my one ticket. And I did, and it was great, and it went well. And yeah, I'm grateful for the experience. I feel like it was important. Everyone's story is different, and sure, I would have loved the fantasy of like, I dropped out of school and I'm making music, and I wanted to be that girl. But I'm kind of glad that my parents forced me to get this degree, because that gave me a sense of discipline, which is something you need. I feel like in any creative field, it's easy to just be wild and creative to get into the zone, but to have that discipline is something that's important too, and to be held accountable. And you're your own boss in a way, and it's so much more than it is. It is a business, and you got to learn that early. And yeah, so it was a great experience.
Wow. Okay. And then so you graduate, and then were you writing songs at Berkeley and recording them there? And then what is the next move for you?
Yeah, so I did start to write there at Berkeley as well. And I always wanted to be in like the pop R&B space. I knew, what the inspiration was and things like that. But it's that first song that it's hard for someone to understand when you're working with a producer or whoever it is. There's nothing to compare it to. And so it's getting that first song that was the most challenging. And it was trial and error, finding your people and the team. And that took some time, between there and then moving out here. just working in different settings. And I feel like you find yourself through that process as well. And yeah, it just started making sense. I was worried about it being cohesive and, what is the narrative? What is the story here? What do I stand? It's so many questions that people spend their whole life, trying to figure out. And how do you convey that and be authentic? It's a lot of things like that. But yeah, it happened I would say in LA is when the conception, 2019, is when it just started making sense. Whereas I was like, here, these are a set of songs that I have, and how do we build from that, But before that, it was me, like I said, finding my sound, finding the right team of producers that understood my vision and, where we could work together and grow and build together.
Was LA always the dream? Like you knew once you finished Berkeley, you wanted to move to Los Angeles?
Yeah. I mean, I do love New York as well, but LA.
One of the two.
Yeah. But LA just felt more like it. I just really wanted to be here. And I'd been here in the summers when I was still at school and worked with some, producers here and just kind of try to dabble in the scene. And I just loved the vibe and the energy, and it just felt natural. I loved it. Okay. Yeah, I still love it.
Yeah. Well, and how do you end up meeting DJ Quick? Like, did you have records out before you met him?
I did, yes. I dropped one song in 2020, Sugarcoat. That was my first single. And
I thought, for some reason I thought he helped you or worked with you on that one. I guess I'm
no, I hadn't.
Wow.
I met him. I just met him last year, actually.
Okay, so you put out that song, and that song does really well. I mean,
it is, yeah. I mean, it's just the start. I want to go. I have big dreams, but I love, for the first single, like I love where it's at, and I think it's crazy. People, really enjoy it. It's on so many playlists, and it's so cool to see people listen. Like you can, with Spotify and Apple, you can see how many people are listening to it.
Wow.
Look at it. And in which part of the world. It's really cool. But yeah, I met him last year. It was through this artist, Tara Kemp. Like she was a major artist like in the 90s. And I had met her through one of my previous managers. And he had introduced us to Dwayne Wiggins from the iconic group Tony.
Yeah.
And he's based in Oakland. He was like, you got to meet DJ Quick. He would be, I feel like, y'all would just build something cool together. But it was, again, during the pandemic still, and it was just hard to connect the dots. And it was a lot of conversations, but I was in the studio recording, finishing up, my previous record, Don't Let Go. And Quick just happened to be there working on a song for Snoop and Billy Ray Cyrus called A Hardworking Man.
Whoa.
And and my producer, he owns the studio that they were working out of. He was like, oh my God, DJ Quick is here. And I was like, what? That's crazy. We've literally been trying to,
set you both up together.
Yes. And he'd heard my music at the time. Like he knew about me and stuff, but we just never officially met. And he heard my song and we just connected. It was so easy. Like we just got along so well. And we just got in a session that week and created a new song, a new record. And now we have several, and he's working on an album too, that he's dropping soon. And we're collaborating on some of his records too. So it's really exciting. I mean, this is a legend,
Oh, total legend. I mean, the people that he's worked with, just DJ Quick in general, aside from the people he's worked with. I mean, I remember getting his records when I was younger, in the 90s and stuff.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, it is. It's still surreal. But he has been a mentor, a collaborator in the best sense and the coolest. Like, I mean, the stories that this man has to share, it's always an education.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a really fun time.
So with that first release and having it do well, that must have been, we talked about validation earlier with being able to go to Berkeley anyway with your family, like putting that out and getting the success it had. Like, what was that like?
It was, well, again, it was during the pandemic. So I was still trying to gauge. I was like, okay, everything is digital, like with how the response is. I didn't get to do the show right when it came out. That was the plan. I wanted to drop it and promote it and do shows and things like that. So everything was largely via Zoom. All my meetings with anybody was via Zoom. So that it felt strange, but I could tell by the people hitting me up like on social media, just from Brazil, saying, oh my God, I love your song. And you know, this is, or like commenting on the video and things like that. It was just so cool to see how connected we all were, even though it was in the digital space. And it was exciting that it could translate. And that's just the first song, you know. Now I'm like on a whole other level with the next songs that are dropping and the EP that's coming out this summer. But it was a great start. I'm just excited to continue the momentum, keep it going and dropping these records. I'm sitting on so much right now. So it's
That's
the
awesome.
impatient artist that's been locked down during COVID, where I'm like, I'm about to take over, like trying to drop all these songs. So yeah, I'm
Wow.
really
So
excited.
Overdrive is the new one, and that's the one that the first one you put out with DJ Quick.
It's no, so this one is not with Quick. I
Oh.
mean, he's heard it, of course. Yeah. No, I haven't dropped any of the songs I worked on with Quick yet.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me
Yeah.
about Overdrive then. Who'd you work with?
Oh,
Like, how was that different process than Sugarcoat?
oh yeah. I mean, Overdrive, oh my gosh. Overdrive has been through a journey. I had worked on it with my producer, like partially in Boston. And then, so it's old. It's one of the
Oh,
OG. But we had to rework it. There was potential. I'm the type of person where if there's something good in a vibe of a song, I don't feel like you should just toss it entirely. Like you save the good parts and then you make it work, you know? That's how I like to personally work. And there was something there. It was special. And so we worked on it in Berlin, you know, like maybe 2 years ago, like right before COVID, 3 years ago.
wow.
And
What took you to
yeah,
Berlin? Just a trip?
my, it was a trip that I was there for. This was when I was waiting for my visa to be renewed. I was in India
Oh,
largely,
okay.
and then I was in Dubai for a little bit, and then also in Berlin. So I worked on it in Berlin, worked on it in Dubai with my producer, who happened to be there at the same time as well. And then we came back to LA, tracked it here. That was 2019. And co-wrote it with this amazing writer. His name is Brandon Rogers. Phenomenal. I love writing with him. Yeah, it was just the three of us, but piecing it together like this. And sometimes that happens with songs, and this is one of them. And yeah, when we
Wow.
tracked it and finished it, I didn't have to come back to it at all. That was the version, you know.
You knew it was done.
It was, yeah. It was like, that's the grand finale, 2019. And now here it is, ready to come out. And I'm super excited. It's time.
Yeah, I mean, it's traveled many countries.
It has. Sometimes, yeah, like sometimes it's easy, you know, you write a song in an hour, 2 hours, you know, in the same city, in the
Right.
same room.
Right.
But sometimes, yeah, I don't know. Like it takes a little longer to finish it. And that happens to a lot. I mean, a lot of people where there's like 10 versions of a song or like 30 versions of a song, you know. I'm not that person, but there were definitely, I would say 4 or 5 versions of this song. Yeah.
Wow. And then, so when you start, once you meet DJ Quick and you guys kind of build a relationship that way, so this whole new record you have, or you said it's an EP coming out in the summer. Are those all songs you worked on with him?
There are
You
a
only
lot.
worked
Yeah,
on
a lot of.
some.
Yeah, I would say about four of them are with Quick. Yeah, it's a 7-song EP at the moment. So
Okay.
about 3 or 4 we're still piecing it together, but mostly done. Yeah.
And is that a similar vibe to what you've released currently, or is it totally different? Like working with him versus a producer that you've used, you know, on these most recent songs, how different is it with working with DJ Quick?
I mean, it's a different, and the man also like as a producer, DJ, rapper, his ears and the records that he listens to, like the records that he has and he uses for sampling, it's things that were way before my time, and it's deep cuts of some of the most iconic artists that even if you're from here, you wouldn't know about, you know? And I feel like that is just like a fresh and different perspective that he brings, obviously with you know, with what he's learned and seen and listens to, but then me writing over that or to that with the experiences I've had, it's a completely new energy. And and yeah, it's just fun. And he's always sending me things. He's always sending me new tracks, or I send him something and I'm like, what do you think of this? And I love that we have that exchange. But yeah, it's fresh. And also bringing back one of his older records, like it's Addictive, where he sampled this Indian song from the 80s. It's called Thoda Resham Lagta Hai. And it was a smash hit in 2002, I believe, called Addictive, with this artist named Truth Hurts. Quick had produced it, Dr. Dre had mixed that record, and it was the first hip hop song to sample an Indian record, and we're bringing that back, and that's so exciting. That's going to be on the EP, and I'm super excited about that one.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's a full circle moment. So that's a part of it too. But going back to your question of, is it similar to what I have out? No, I mean, I have like 3 songs out. There's so much more that's coming, and different layers and different, still within the same genre. But I just want to give people a show. Like when you listen to this EP or when you see me live, I want it to be a whole experience and not just one type of vibe, and this is just the beginning. So it's a whole lot that's coming.
That's so exciting. Well, I can't wait to hear what you have in store, especially these songs with DJ Quick. And I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I have one more question for you. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
For aspiring artists, I would say just stay true. I know this is said time and again, but just stay true to who you are, the sound that you love, and the music that you want to hear, and keep at it. And don't care what anyone says. If you rock with that, if you think it's fire, don't care what anyone says, because it's all about the authenticity and how you deliver it, and you make it cool. It's not about what everyone else thinks at the end of the day, because if you do it with 100% authenticity, they're gonna love it. They're gonna love it.
Bringing it backwards.